4 years later, in 2000, I made my first Olympic team and was 5th. Came back from that pretty disappointed. I wanted to come home with a medal, not a piece of paper that said I competed.
Yeah.
So I used that as motivation, and 6 months after my first Olympics, I broke my first world record. Eat, sleep, swim. That was literally it. I guess for an extended period of time, 5 or 6 years, I went every single day without missing a single day. I never got sick. I was in the water on Christmas, birthday, holidays, everything. It didn't matter. And the thought process behind that was, when you take a day off in the sport of swimming, it takes you 2 days to get back to where you were. So when somebody is taking off on a Sunday, they're not back till Tuesday from where they were on Saturday. So I have that many days ahead of them. I was putting all of that, we would call it putting it in the bank. We were storing all of this good work that we were doing, this hard work that we were doing, continuous hard work, and it was going to pay off at some point.
Yeah.
So, we just kind of kept grinding. So I was swimming probably 80 to 100,000 meters a week, 10 practices a week, working out of the pool, 3 different sessions. So core was something that we really worked on and did a ton of body weight stuff. I was fully engaged in everything that I was doing, and everything around my life was based around the pool. Yeah. If something wasn't going to help me in the pool, then I wasn't doing it. It wasn't about really I guess it wasn't about chasing the medal record or this or that. It was doing the best that I could. And honestly, I performed and I trained, I guess I trained harder than anybody else. I was doing things that people dreamt about doing, in the water, training-wise, or I don't know. It was just I was putting myself in a position to have the chance to win a medal. Staring at the black line on the bottom of a swimming pool for 3 to 5 hours a day really isn't the most enjoyable thing, and it's not the easiest thing to do. But I think when you have a goal that's important enough to you, nothing will stand in your way, and that's what it was. I wanted to accomplish those goals, and I was going to make it happen. For me, it was trying the process. I guess that's what it was. We were figuring out the process of what we had to do in order to stand up and be able to compete against the best in the world. It was just the process of it all. So for me, it was easy to kind of push through it because I wanted it so bad. I had these quotes, I had these goals, I had all of these things taped in my locker that I saw every day, when I got out of bed. And I think the biggest thing is during the days where I didn't want to go, or I was tired, I was sore, this, that, or the other, I still went. Because if I'm going to go to practice and I'm going to get 10%, 20%, 30% out of that day, it's better than getting 0. So I was always taking steps forward, and that's why everything worked out. I swam for over 20 years, and I can guarantee you there was probably 100 days where I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to stay in the pool or stay in my bed and not get out. But those were the days where you have to. You have to get up and do something, because I think that's really what separates the good from the great. The greats do things when they don't always want to do them. I wanted to do something that nobody else has ever done in the sport. That's what made me hungry.
Yeah.
If I got 1 medal and I swam an okay time, I want to go faster. That's just what it was. I was chasing times because I knew that if I could get to certain times, there wasn't anybody else in the world that could do that time. So when we talk about competitors, yeah. I knew my competitors better than they knew themselves. I swam so many races and so many events, so I was always conscious of what the other athletes were doing in the world in those events, because I was going to have a time where I was going to swim against them. And we can talk back to the mental part of it.
Yes.
When these things come on, when these bright lights come on, not many people can step up to that challenge. So if you have a person like that, then there are ways that you can kind of expect that they're not even going to be in the race. So I don't know, it was just something that my coach and I were always very aware of, and we kind of knew how they swam their races. I knew, the 100 fly, for example, in 2008, I knew that Michael Kavik was going to be out a second faster than me. And I knew if I could go 24.0 on the first 50, I had a chance to win. I was 24.01 at the first 50, and I won by 100th. So we kind of knew what to expect.
Yeah.
My losses were the best things that could happen to me, because when I had a loss, it was because I wasn't doing what I needed to. I wasn't preparing myself the best way that I could. So I got what I deserve, and I think that's the great thing in sports. As much as you want to prepare or not prepare, you're going to get the results that you deserve no matter what. So, if you're going to do something, you might as well give 100%. Your mind is such a powerful tool, right? So you use it to your advantage. And I think as a kid growing up, I was taught to take the word can't out of my vocabulary. Because if you say the word can't, you've made your mind up. Do something else. Like if I say I can't get out of bed this morning, I'm not going to get out of bed. So I think just those negative words, I think, were something that I took out that helped me believe that whatever I put my mind to, I could achieve. So yeah, I guess it's like we were saying, like we tried to keep it simple as you possibly can do it. Because the more you start complicating things, it's just never going to go well. So that my coach was able to, kind of put me through these little tests and practice that would help me mentally prepare myself. Whether it's breaking my goggles on purpose so I can't swim with goggles during a race. So then I have to figure out a way to stay calm and to stay relaxed. Or when I do visualizing, I spend a ton of time visualizing on how the race could go, how I want the race to go, and how I don't want the race to go. So I'm already prepared. For whatever happens, I can accept it and move past it. I think the biggest thing is that we all need to understand is that it's okay to not be okay. Like we're human beings. We're going to go through ups and downs. We're going to have struggles. It's the way of life. If life was easy, then it wouldn't be as fun. So it's we kind of have to have those ups and downs to really be able to learn and grow. And for me, my downs were, like as I said, some of the scariest moments in my life. But for a long time, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror because I saw myself as strictly a swimmer, not as a human being. And that's scary. So for me, I had to find out whatever it was that I was looking for and find out who I was. So for me, during that process in 2014, I was able to really see and like myself the way I am. And I liked who I saw in the mirror. And for me, I still have days where I go through struggles. I still have depression spells. I still deal with anxiety. It's something that's going to be a part of my life forever. And it's what makes me me. So I've accepted that. And honestly, I just try to grow and to learn from each experience, but prepare myself even more than I ever have before. Because as you said, there are so many other people who are finally opening up and saying that they're going through a difficult time or they need a break. It's real, and it's people showing their human side. For me, I think the biggest thing that I always said to myself is I wanted to finish my career on my terms. That was it. So for me, I felt in 2012 that I didn't really do that. I didn't give myself the opportunity to do what I could do. So I wanted that. I didn't want to have to live with that for the next 20 years. Kind of have that what if. What if I did this better? What if I did that better? So for me, I wanted to give myself that chance, and there was nobody else that could make that choice but me. So I chose that I wanted to come back, and I'll never forget the meeting I had with my coach, and he just said, we're doing it my way, and that is the only way that we can do it. And at that point, I had to just say, all right, fine, let's do it. And not complain, not argue, not talk back. I was really good at all of those things. But just trust the process. And I think going through that from, coming back in 2014 and enjoying the process again, I felt like a high school kid. And I was having fun. And I think that was the best part of that journey. Climbing back up to the mountain the mountaintop is really easy. Staying up there is even harder.
Yeah.
So that climb and that journey was easy because I wanted it so bad, but it was so enjoyable. And being able to finish how I wanted, come back and four-peat the 200 IM, win the 200 fly, win a couple relays, but have my family there. My firstborn son, my wife, those are moments and memories that I will have forever, and those are some of my proudest memories. So throughout my life, I had the opportunity to do anything and everything, and for me, I wanted to take every opportunity that I could to be the best athlete that I could be, because everything that I was giving up, I had the chance to do when I was done. Yeah, I missed out on a few dances or, dates, movies, this, that, and the other, but I had opportunities that nobody else ever had. And for me, I'll give up anything to do that. So it was easy for me to give that stuff up because, now, and it's actually kind of comical. I feel like that Boomer and Beckett and I are probably learning some of the same things at this very time because, for me, I was in the pool swimming all the time, right? I said before, eat, sleep, and swim. That was my job. That was my life. So, I didn't have the chance to have the experiences through the teenage years and on that other kids had. So I'm experiencing some of that stuff now and learning some of the stuff now that I probably should have learned or could have learned at a younger age.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. It's enjoyable for me, and honestly, it's challenging for me too. But I think the biggest thing that I've really learned with kids is I've learned the definition of patience a little bit more.
Yeah.
They're always testing my patience, and they know how to press my buttons better than any human out there. So it's a cool process. Try to be their own person. For me, I was never trying to be the next Mark Spitz. I was trying to be the first Michael Phelps, and that was my goal. So, I think when you try to be somebody else, it's almost impossible to be somebody else. So, it's just trying to be the best you that you can possibly be. That's really it. Everyone used the comparison for me and Spitz for how many years, and then that was never the goal of the dream. I didn't even know who Mark Spitz was when somebody first asked me. So it's and not because I don't know my history, but that wasn't what I was trying to chase. I was trying to do something to be the first. I was trying to be the first person to ever do something in that sport, or the first person to ever do something at the Olympics of that magnitude. So, my goals were my personal goals, and nobody else is going to stand in the way. I'm my worst critic, so I'll say, I'm the hardest on myself out of any people in the world. So, but I will say I had some of the greatest competitors in the water that really did push me. You think about it, I swam with Lochte for basically my whole career, and we were 1-2 or 1-3 basically every single race. So, I was competing with the best of the best, and I had them basically next to me every day. Basically broke it down to, take 5 things and work on those 5 things. Do those really well for a month. After that month, it's going to become a habit, right? So then you can take on 5 or 10 other things. And once you've done that, you can do 5 or 10 other things. And before too long, you're ready to go. You got everything that you need to be the best that you can possibly be. So I think it's the small steps. Rome, the famous saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. I hate hearing that, but it's so true. Because you can't expect something overnight. You have to go through the process of it. And that's the biggest thing. I can't jump out of bed tomorrow and say, I want to break the world record in the 200 IM. No, I have to do the small pieces to be able to get to that goal. So I think it's really taking a step backwards and understanding what you want, and then figuring out a plan on how you're going to get there. My motto throughout my whole career was dream, plan, reach. Figure out a dream, plan on how you're going to get there, and reach for it. If it doesn't go well, you go back to the drawing board, figure out a different plan.